Good day, everyone. Happy weekend. My name is Adam Livingston, and I am the Bitcoin Wizard. I wanted to make a really quick, fun little weekend video for you guys today because, I woke up, I saw that Bitcoin was in the 60,000 range once again. Yes, I didn't see a 58 number, or God forbid, a 57. I saw $60,678, and that to me is a win after a month of pure price agony. And right now, the raging debate is simply this: is the Bitcoin bottom in? Everybody is freaking out. You have half of crypto Twitter, these clowns, they're claiming that they're waiting until 30K Bitcoin, 35K Bitcoin, 40K Bitcoin. And I wanted to articulate why I think it'd be ridiculous to wait for a bottom instead of accumulating right now. And I wanted to do it with a statistical probability basis here. Because at the end of the day, I think in terms of probabilities, not certainties. There are certain traders that want to time the exact bottom to the 0.1 percentile. But at the end of the day, that's just a fool's errand. So the question is, should you be accumulating Bitcoin right now? That's up for you to decide, because this is not financial advice. This is financial entertainment. I'm just going to be explaining why when I look at all of these different indicators, I think the Bitcoin bottom, if it's not in, it is definitely near in. And that does not mean that I stay away from the asset. That means that I buy as much as I can right now. We were down like 52, 53% from the high, and people are freaking out. This is shaking out a lot of the tourists. I'm actually quite surprised that sentiment is this bad when we have seen orders of magnitude worse Bitcoin drops in the past. So if you are still here, if you are still a perma-bull on Bitcoin like I am, please do me a favor, like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That way you can support me spread the orange gospel to the masses. And if you are interested in taking your trapped home equity to buy Bitcoin, Horizon is standing by to help you take your trapped home equity that you already have, and they can help you convert it into Bitcoin with no monthly payments. You get to retain home ownership, and guess what? There is no risk of forced liquidation. This isn't leverage gambling nonsense. No term limits, no income requirements. It's super easy. You're trapped home equity into Bitcoin, and they will help you every single step of the way. If you are interested, go to joinhorizon.com, link in the description below. I will talk more about Horizon at the end of the video. So what was my methodology? I took every single Bitcoin closing price since July of 2010, and then I also kind of adjusted for the tiny microcap weirdness by adjusting for 2014 plus for some of the core statistics. And then I measured forward returns from historical days when all of these conditions were already true. So what I'm trying to do is not pick the exact bottom with hindsight. What I'm trying to do is think in probabilistic terms, okay? It's simply looking back at history and asking the question, when the dashboard looks like this before in Bitcoin, what happens next when we look at all of these historical indicators? It's not a crystal ball, but remember, we can't predict the future. We can only ever look to the past. That's why people who like to claim that Bitcoin is going to some certain 35K bottom price based on nothing, they need historical data to back them up to show you how likely it is in the past, at least in a relativistic basis. If you're not looking at history, you are literally looking at nothing. These are the people that are looking into a crystal ball. I am doing the opposite. I am coming armed with real data. So there are 8 different signs that coin is near the bottom right now. That's correct. 8 different signs near the bottom. Is it the exact bottom? I don't know. I'm not even going to give you a number. If we wick down to 55K, literally wouldn't be surprised. We wick down below the 200-week moving average with a black swan and FTX, and we stayed there for quite a while. So who knows? Maybe some exchange blows up. Maybe some scam gets outed. I don't know exactly. Obviously, in the term black swan, you can't predict it. But that said, there are 8 different signals. It's very simple. They are, number 1, the halving cycle bottom window that is currently flashing, because this is the exact same timing after the halving that we've seen prior drawdowns. That is something that has happened time and time again. Not shocking there. Also, the time/the depth bear market regime is going to be my second signal. Then we're going to look at the 200-week and the 4-year moving average, the yearly return after one big washout after a negative return year for Bitcoin. That's another indicator that's flashing. Then we have the weekly relative strength index capitulation, which would be a deep 365-day moving average discount, essentially. And then we have a weekly relative strength index capitulation and the Bitcoin gold ratio. All of these are lighting up all at the exact same time. So Bitcoin Bitcoin does not need vibes or your chart squiggles, kids. The statistical bottom zone dashboard that I have created with these 8 signals, it is flashing on every single one because the drawdown, the cycle timing, 200-week, 4-year moving average, the yearly return, weekly RSI, Bitcoin Gold, all of them lighting up at the exact same time. So on top of that, I also built a composite signal here. Signal number 1, we are post-halving. This is not surprising, a post-halving bottom window. This happens routinely in Bitcoin's price history. Today's reading, we are 798 days post-halving, and right now we're at a negative 51.3% drawdown. So when we look at the historical matches throughout all of Bitcoin's price history. And then we look at the median 12-month return from this point forward, and then the median 24-month return. On a forward-looking median basis, this is what has happened, not what will happen, but what has happened. A plus 55% 12-month median return and a plus 210% 24-month median return. The 24-month median return would imply within 2 years we're over 150K Bitcoin. Perhaps it's higher, perhaps it's lower, but that's just what the median return would look like. Now remember, Bitcoin is down from the October all-time high. Historically, after Bitcoin is down more than 45% and more than 180 days removed toward the all-time high, the forward returns skew positive very heavily. So this signal right here is a greater than 45% drawdown after 180 days. The median 12-month return, when you look at history, is plus 109%. This would imply over 100K Bitcoin, and then the 24-month median return is 343%. And that's when you're actually getting up into 200K coin levels if history rhymes. So what I'm telling you with this one is that the drawdown that we are in is deep enough to actually matter for a very high CAGR of Bitcoin, because we have seen this happen time and time again with the severity / the time of the drawdown. Forward returns, pretty immaculate, incredible. If you're not happy with a plus 343% after 2 years, then I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Next up, we're below the 200-week moving average. If you simply smooth out Bitcoin's price volatility and it's one smooth line, I talk about this a lot, and you are seeing a deviation from that long-term trend line. Right now, Bitcoin is at 0.975x its 200-week moving average, so a little bit under that line. Now, historically, Bitcoin even trading under this line is very rare. It usually means one of two things: a forced liquidation panic that happens when people are being degenerates. And then, of course, you do have late stage bear market exhaustion where the time pain really starts to crush people and then they just sell off. The forward returns from this historical level of oversold in relation to that 200-week moving average, 3 months is actually a plus 24%, 6 months plus 51%, 12 months is a plus 121%, and 24 months, another plus over 300%, plus 326%. In my opinion, this is probably the cleanest signal that exists in all of Bitcoin. Very similar is the 4-year moving average, which I wish was just the standard because you would only add 8 weeks to that 200-week moving average, but still obviously very similar forward-looking median returns when you look at that indicator. If there is one metric in Bitcoin that makes you not want to panic, it is the 4-year moving average. This is what it looks like. You strip out the volatility and you just take a snapshot of 4-year windows rolling throughout all of Bitcoin's price history. And this is what you see. You can see the Bitcoin price up here. It is janky. It's going up and down, super volatile as always, but the 4-year moving average number just continues to crawl up over and over and over again. So for a long duration asset like Bitcoin, this is the signal that you need to look at because you smooth out the volatility and you see the apex asset monetizing, repricing the world in real time. Look at this. Literally less than 2 years ago, we saw the 4-year moving average slightly under $40,000. And then it just relentlessly marches upward over and over again. And look at this. Now we just crossed the $60,000 level, and that is the line of Bitcoin's monetization happening when you strip out the volatility. So basically, we are trading below this number right now. That very rarely happens, and every single time it has happened, it was a huge flashing buy signal. And then some more good news is that even if you wanted to zoom in a little bit and look at a 365-day moving average, Bitcoin is pretty severely discounted when it comes to that time frame as well. Bitcoin is at 0.666x its 365 daily moving average, which means, hey, you should probably buy right now. That's a huge satanic discount, in fact. So this is just proving that the Bitcoin discount is organized by the demons that are trying to ruin your life, and you need to take advantage of them by buying. Not financial advice, financial entertainment, just gotta say. So this means that the 1-year trend of Bitcoin has violently repriced. Now, historical median returns whenever this number is below 0.7x. When it comes to a 6-month forward-looking time horizon from this point, the historical median returns whenever Bitcoin is below 0.7x of its 365 DMA right here. It is a plus 31% with 6 months, more than double that with plus 66 with 12 months, and plus 320% on a 24-month basis. This is the market saying everybody who bought last year is totally miserable, but historically, obviously, that's where forward returns start getting interesting. And then when it comes to the actual pricing of the 1-year return, it's minus 43.3%. So that's not normal volatility. This is usually despair pricing. When Bitcoin's 1-year return was worse than 40% ever, well, the historical forward returns were actually even more bullish. Pretty crazy numbers. 6-month forward-looking return from this flashing buy signal in history is plus 45%. The 12-month is plus 91%, so this would imply we get back to close to the all-time high around 1 year. But the 24-month median return number is wild, 440%. That is remarkably exciting because that's over a 5x from today. We're talking 250,000 Bitcoin. The weekly RSI, the relative strength index, this is not quite maximum puke right now, but it's clearly in its historical bear market correction territory. When the weekly relative strength index was at or below this zone, the 6-month time horizon was a plus 32% return. The 12-month time horizon, a plus 64% return, and 24 months, 266%. Now, the caveat here, obviously, the short-term returns, they can still be ugly. You could buy now. We could go to 50K. Who knows? But 12 to 24 months out, this zone versus every other flashing indicator we went over so far, extremely bullish for the asset. Now, this is my favorite one because the Bitcoin gold ratio is crazy cheap right now. It's actually quite absurd how far we are into the Bitcoin gold bear market. A lot of people don't know this, but we've been in a Bitcoin bear market when priced in gold since December of 2024. The Bitcoin gold ratio is down 63% from that high. Yes, 63%, which is more than the decline in the US dollar price. Now, when Bitcoin and gold is down more than 55% from its high, the Bitcoin forward returns are. Simply, when you look to history at a 6-month time basis, plus 35%, 12 months is a doubling in Bitcoin's price of plus 99%, and then a huge bullish number here, more than a 4x from today in 24 months. That's what the median historical basis tells you, and that would imply over 200K Bitcoin. So basically, gold continues to be treated like a safe asset, even though there has been a huge decline in the price. But there is no denying that gold went on a historic run last year in 2025, absorbed trillions into the asset, and Bitcoin is still being treated like a crime scene. Historically, that spread never lasts forever. We are waiting for the rotation from precious metals, from AI, from equities in general. So the point of this is not that the Bitcoin bottom is in, not at all. I'm trying to make a more defensible take than that. What I'm trying to say is that right now, as you're watching this, Bitcoin is in one of the historical zones where downside emotions, they are very extreme. All of the trend metrics, they're washed out. The cycle timing is favorable. The forward returns when it comes to the 6, 12, 24 month, they have all been historically asymmetric. So I'm not saying the bottom is in guaranteed. Not what I'm doing. Not saying that moon happens tomorrow, kids. I'm just saying this is what the Bitcoin opportunity usually looks like when everybody is too traumatized to recognize the opportunity. These are the median 12-month and 24-month returns of Bitcoin with every single one of these indicators throughout history. So when you're asking me, am I waiting for Bitcoin to go lower to buy? No, I'm not, because I'm not an idiot. Trying to time the bottom like a trader and then missing the bottom is a signal of low intelligence when it comes to probabilistic thinking. The people who were waiting for 10K in 2022, what happened happened to them? Did they end up buying at 25K after we rebounded from the bottom? Or did they finally get in at 40K? I'm not playing that game. I can look to history, look at a bunch of different indicators, and it tells me what I should probably be doing. Anyway, my name is Adam Livingston. I am the Bitcoin Wizard. I hope you guys are hanging in there. I am more bullish on Bitcoin than ever because I acknowledge that now is the time to buy. And when Bitcoin is this cheap, according to these indicators, that just means that you have a higher percent chance of better returns. Funny how that works. If you want a high Bitcoin CAGR for yourself, you gotta buy when Bitcoin is cheap. I hope you all have a very terrific weekend. Do not party too hard. Class dismissed.
We all want to own more Bitcoin, but most of us aren't sitting on piles of idle cash, and that is where Horizon comes in. Horizon lets homeowners convert a portion of their home equity into Bitcoin so they can diversify into an asset with stronger long-term growth potential. What makes Horizon stand out is its flexibility. There are no monthly payments, no interest charges, and no fixed term limit. You stay in your home, you stay in control, and the coin that you buy is fully yours to hold in custody however you choose. That means no margin calls, no forced selling, and no scenario where Bitcoin volatility puts your home at risk. If you believe that Bitcoin will outperform your home's growth over the long term, Horizon gives you a way to act on it using capital that you already have. Horizon has already helped hundreds of homeowners put their equity to work in Bitcoin, and they'd love to help you as well. Visit joinhorizon.com using this QR code or at the link in the video description. You can see how it works and estimate how much Bitcoin you could unlock in just 90 seconds. Transform your home equity into Bitcoin today with Horizon.